Good morning, everybody, and a happy Friday morning to you. Okay, we have royal news, and then we have the whole, you know where I'm going. Let's just jump in, shall we? Let's go. We're going to start off with Princess Beatrice. She was spotted at the Sabina Belenko Couture Christmas party at the 22 Club on November 28th in London. And after that, on the same night, she was spotted at the Fair of St. James Christmas Carol concert at St. James Palace with her fabulous husband. A big thank you to Remoulade Sauce for all of the information on what she was wearing. Moving on now. Catherine, the Princess of Wales, come to find out, is going to be on a show from the BBC called Two Secrets of the Aquarium. That's going to air in December. She apparently paid a visit to the National Marine Aquarium in Plymouth. Now, we don't know when this episode was filmed. She was last in Plymouth in July of last year, but you know, we also know that she's been scuba diving. This footage could have been taken at any time, but I'm excited. All right, moving on. Next up, we have Princess Anne, who went to Canvey. She's the royal patron of the National Coast Watch Station at the Island Yacht Club, and she met with volunteer duty watchkeepers and went to a reception. I just love her. All right, moving on to Queen Camilla. She was out and about, and she was seen wearing an evil eye bracelet like Meghan Markle. These are supposed to ward off negative energy. Of course, the bracelet that Meghan was wearing cost like $17,000, 18-karat white gold, blue topaz, white diamonds, black diamonds, you know, like the epitome of class and expensive. Yeah, Camilla's isn't like that, of course. Moving on, I'm very excited because Crown Princess Victoria and Prince Daniel are in the UK for a 3-day visit. Now, I may not have these visits in order. I'm going to do my best. Now, one of the first things they did was they went to a training camp in Eastern England by the name of Stanta, S-T-A-N-T-A. I had no idea this went on. This is where Swedish military are given training to Ukrainian soldiers as part of the UK-led Operation Interflex. I had absolutely no idea that was going on in the UK. I found that to be very, very interesting. This couple is like Catherine and William in the UK. They just exude, you know, that star quality. They dated for like 10 years before they were married. They have 2 children, and she is going to be the next Queen of Sweden. Next up, the 2 of them went to a pub in Newmarket by the name of the Three Blackbirds Pub. Now, she went right behind that bar. She poured herself a glass of beer. She seemed to really enjoy it, actually. You know, most people just take a sip and put it down. No, she kept drinking it. I love it. They met the owner of the pub. They discussed English pub culture. They heard a presentation about East Anglia during their visit. I'm telling you, they're so cute. Now, when that fun was over, the princess and her husband and the state secretary of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs went to a place called White City Campus. Now, this is supposedly part of the Imperial College. It's under construction. Now, part of this visit was them putting on lab coats and seeing how NATO's Accelerator for Defense Innovation, basically how innovation can help, accelerate defense and security for their country. I think that's very, very nice. You know, she reminds me of Catherine in that she could wear anything, a paper sack, and she would look good. When this was over, the 2 of them attended a reception at the Swedish ambassador's residence held on the occasion of the Sweden's candidacy to become a member of the International Maritime Organization Council. Now, later on that night, they went to a dinner at the National History Museum in London. And didn't she look lovely in this sparkly dress of hers? Now, this was not the night that they're going out with William and Catherine. That's going to be tomorrow. Anyway, this dinner was hosted by Business Sweden, which helps companies from the Scandinavian nation leverage their strengths in Britain. I think that's wonderful. The dinner was sustainability themed. It was all about innovation, security, and the importance of progress in climate negotiations during the COP28. Really quickly, before we move on to the whole mess, this just caught my attention, and it's true. The text message that Harry shared with Meghan, in the Netflix series, has now been confirmed to be a lie. They've had no contact. That has been confirmed. So this text message never happened. Wow. Big shocker there. All right, here we go. Articles like this are coming out. Meghan wants to smash the royal family because she's upset because she wanted to give opinions on how the royal family should be run. And when nobody listened to her and she wasn't the star, then she got upset and this was the cause of all of this. Absolutely. This is not a puff piece. This is real. Now, Buckingham Palace was asked about the book, and basically all they said was, it's just another book. They are still doing the no complain, no explain mantra, which has worked very well for them. And let's be honest, lots of allegations in this book, and as usual, not one shred of proof of any of it. So we all know that William and Catherine have been the main targets in this book. They're doing the no complain, no explain thing. They're ignoring it. And in the meantime, there was a new video released that shows all the investitures given out at Buckingham Palace this year. It was a really, really good video, too. You guys should go watch it. And let's all not forget that Meghan was accused of bullying, and their report is locked in a vault at Buckingham Palace. They could whip that thing out at any time, all right? And remember, anybody who speaks out against Meghan is a racist and bigoted, and, but you see this young lady on the right? She only lasted with Meghan for a few weeks before she ran for the hills. Now, we know that Meghan was upset that her kids were not Prince and Princess. We heard it during the Oprah show. My child was not titled the same as the other grandchildren. But her children are not in direct line to the throne. They're like 6 and 7 or whatever. Her kids are never going to get to the throne, but she was so jealous. I don't think she could contain herself. With this comes another accusation from Omid that Harry and Meghan's children actually faced more security threats than Catherine and William's children, but had less protection. We've already heard about this. He wasn't going to get security. He got security. He's a baby. He's with his parents. His parents have security. When they weren't at home, the baby was at Frogmore with the nanny. There was security. What she wanted was him to have as much security or for the baby to have his own security team. That is ridiculous for a small infant to have his own security team. But that's what Harry and Meghan wanted. They don't seem to have an issue now that they're in the United States with security and their family. And by the way, the article also puts out that Meghan prepares family breakfast every morning and Harry gets the couple's children ready. Even though they never spend any time with the kids. And another racial undertone from Omid Scobie. He's claiming that when Harry and Meghan met with Nelson Mandela, that a senior courtier hollered out, "What a legend." And then they heard that a photographer had commented that Meghan should be more black. Prove it. Once again, unsubstantiated. Oh, we heard that somebody said. Right. The only thing that Omid's put in that book that I think is correct is the fact that Netflix deliberately dropped the trailer for their show with Harry and Meghan while William and Catherine were in Boston for the Earthshot Prize. By the way, they also dropped the Invictus Tennis, promo. It was so obvious what they were doing, but we all knew what they were doing because they have done it for years. Even when they were in the royal family, they pulled that, childish crap. All right, a big thank you to Rainy Day for this photo. Now let's jump in, shall we? All right, here we go. According to Omid Scobie, Princess Catherine considers her relationship with Harry to be over and there's no going back. That may be one thing he put in the book that's absolutely accurate. They used to be very close. They considered one another, like brother and sister. And even after the tensions got high, Catherine tried to be a peacekeeper between them, wanted to make sure that Harry kept his relationship with the kids, but nope, it's not going to happen. So to start with, it's been said on multiple sites from multiple outlets that this book is literally just a rehashing of everything else. There's nothing new. And the only thing that's brought the book to the forefront is this whole debacle of the Dutch version versus the American version. So here's what happened. First of all, there were multiple editions of this book. Remember, it was held back and then released later. Well, apparently in the Dutch version, Charles is named, as you can see, I've highlighted it, as the royal racist. Now, of course, everybody's screaming, this is a translation problem, this is wrong. People were running around, pulling it from the shelves quickly. Too late, though, because it had already been purchased. It's already out there. You can't pull it back. But how do you mistranslate a passage which has somebody's name on it? Because I think what happened was Omid did have a copy where Charles was named. I think it went out to the publisher. I think it didn't get changed, and boom, the name got put out. Now, the versions in the book blow this narrative of Harry's out of the way because he wasn't even present at said conversation. Now, a blind item came out saying that the leak was planned. I have no trouble believing that because the sales of the book were sucking. And now that this has happened, they've taken off. I totally believe this was a marketing ploy. Now, here's the thing. Remember, Omid said he couldn't release the names of the royal racists because of UK law. And they're claiming again that this was a translation error. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it didn't take long. Suddenly, instead of there being one royal racist, now there's two. The second one supposedly is Catherine, Princess of Wales. Why don't you find some kittens for her to kill? Because that's more likely. I agree with Murky Meg. This was a planned attack. And everybody's coming out saying, how is this possible? Any guesses on what's going on? Because now the Dutch publisher is saying that it was an error. No. Now, I agree with all of these people. How is that possible? Now, for those of you who don't remember, when Catherine was pregnant, people were saying, I wonder what the royal baby will look like, because after all, Catherine has commoner genes and the baby could be darker skinned. Nobody claimed, racism there. Now we know, we heard it online that Scobie said he could not release the names in the UK of the royal racists due to UK laws. So how many of you think that the release in another country might have just been a mistake? Well, Dutch criminal law is against Omid Scobie, so if he thought that this was a good idea to do, Richard Fitzwilliam said it perfectly, that Omid is untrustworthy, incompetent, and writes trash in the book. And remember, this conversation took place before Charles walked Meghan down the aisle. She knew about the conversation before this, supposedly. So first off, Omid is in damage control mode. He's going on TV everywhere he can, and he's trying to clear himself. So he's saying that, first of all, he said, I never said that this was the racist word in this subject. He said, I made it very clear in the book that we're talking about unconscious bias. Then he said, we're talking about a conversation that was raised about the color of Archie's skin that they called concerning. Now, keep in mind that during the Oprah show, Meghan made it sound like there were several conversations and that they took place while she was pregnant, specifically about Archie. And Harry's conversation, according to Harry, it was one conversation that took place before he even married her. Now, suddenly, they're talking about two racists and multiple conversations. He also said he's not Meghan's friend. He's lying. Okay, anyway, the entire conversation, it's coming out, is because the king and Camilla questioned what the children would look like. Do you know how many people around the world have those questions? And I don't believe that Harry thought it was a racist question or a racist discussion until Meghan put that in his head. And so he's thrown accusations at the king. He has thrown accusations now at the princess. He has thrown accusations all over the place. But again, don't forget, Harry and Meghan said the royal family was not racist, that it was the evil British press who said that. Yeah, I think they tried to get back in with the family. And I don't know if how much of this book is Meghan. I mean, obviously, if she has a letter, obviously it was given to Omid. The only person who would have given that would have been Meghan. So, you know, I do feel bad for the king. He gave them everything and they crapped all over him. So here's the next thing that happened. Piers Morgan went on Piers Morgan Uncensored and decided that he'd had enough. And here's what he had to say. He said Harry and Meghan knew what they were doing when they sat on that Oprah show and leveled the claims of racism and that Britain was still having fallout from it. Now remember, she said there were concerns and conversations about how dark Archie's skin was going to be. Then she said the conversations took place with Harry, and Harry came out and said that the conversation happened before they were even married. There was no Archie. And of course, now it's also coming out in the book that Harry didn't even have a conversation. It supposedly was overheard by a courtier who then reported it to Harry. Piers Morgan pointed out that they've never offered any evidence of any kind. They didn't do it in The Spare when they could have. They didn't do it in the Netflix docuseries when they could have. I mean, they trashed Britain and they claimed the press was racist, but they didn't say anything about what they said on Oprah. Meghan also did not mention it on her Spotify chats. And don't forget, I've shown you the video, you've seen it a gazillion times, that Harry then went to Tom Bradby, did a U-turn and said that it wasn't them, it was the press that said it. Piers also pointed out that it took them 2 years of everybody accusing the royal family being racist to undo the narrative. Then Piers pointed out all of Omid's lies, the ones that I already told you guys about, where he lied about his age, where he lied about being on the private jet. He claimed that Piers is calling Queen Camilla when they've never spoken on the phone. Now, Meghan claims there were letters going back and forth between her and King Charles. Personally, I don't think King Charles would be that stupid. But anyway, Omid said he couldn't release the names of the people in the UK. I mean, obviously he could have released it in other places where it's published, and he never said names, but of course then we know it was released in another country. Piers pointed out the publisher said it was a translation error, which I've already told you makes no sense. The name is either there or not, and now they're simply claiming an error. So Piers said, you know what? If you can buy this book in Holland and it's on the street, why shouldn't I give you the names? And he points out that Omid on the last book claimed that Meghan and Harry had nothing to do with it. And then come to find out they did. So he just decided he's going to end all this baseless speculation and, crap with, again, no proof of anything. And he's flat out said he's naming King Charles and Catherine. I mean, my goodness, if you guys want to see King Charles as a racist throughout his entire life, we're able to go back and see that that's absolutely not true. We already know he is a friend. He was in a mosque recently. He was celebrating with Jewish people for Hanukkah. He is a friend to every religion, and he certainly is not racist against people with extra melanin in their skin. So I'm afraid that that whole argument goes right down the drain. Well, karma, it's a thing, you guys. I've always said, and you guys should know that what Omid Scobie has done has literally torpedoed any relaunch or rebranding efforts that Meghan has had. We've seen her on the red carpet and attempting to hang out with A-list celebrities, and WME is doing their best to rebrand her. But this book just killed it. There's nowhere for her to go. Karma. All right, you guys, comments, make them good. Don't forget to hit the like button. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. If you've already done that, double check. Make sure you're still subscribed. If you've donated to my coffee fund, thank you so much. And as always, you guys, have a great day.